and they announced that we're going to put a tariff on such items, and the stock market goes down 300 points. Now, I can tell you, it went like down 200, 300 points because we're going to put more tariffs on cars.
Yeah, it's
So
a
then
major
we have
change.
Eastern Europe, and you know what happens, because if you wait for 2 or 3 days, stock market drops, okay? Now, you know, there's a lot of people with money that, including politicians, that went out and bought that stock when it dropped. And all of a sudden, you'll find in 3 or 4 days, we're gonna drop the tariffs. And that stock's gonna go up. Well, who's making the money? It's not me or you. It's the people that went out and bought, has a lot of money that bought a lot of stock, and they know, oh,
Was that unethical, playing the market?
well, certainly it is.
It's unethical? For me to make
it's
a...
unethical to know, yeah, it's unethical.
Well, you think
to
that
say-
that was privileged information?
Well,
Because just
It's
because I
more
can see it
privileged,
coming,
yeah.
doesn't mean that was breaking the law. I didn't pull a, what do you call it?
Well, it's breaking the law, say,
If I knew about it ahead of time, 100%.
yeah.
If I had
Hey,
facts, market facts.
I'm gonna go put the tariffs against,
If I had
milk
control of
and
the
honey.
tariffs. Yeah.
and I'm gonna announce it tomorrow, and you already know about it, and if you
Yeah.
have time to,
If Trump ever communicated stuff like this to a third party, that's
Okay.
illegal.
so now that has happened
Yeah.
in the last 30 hours. Now, you watch the amount of news that comes through the stock market.
Oh, this
and
is a
you see
today thing, huh?
Everything goes up, and then you'll hear of, oh, well, such and such made this investment, they had inside information, which, that's going on right now.
That's what's
with
called inside information.
Several people.
Yeah. Well, okay, so all of it, throughout all industries and the capitalist society of this country can unethical behavior, can ethics be trained? Can unethical behavior be washed away from our business society by training?
You want an answer?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
You either got it or you don't.
So let me revert back to the basic question. Can ethics be trained?
You can give the groundwork, and also ethics, you know, you're telling me to do one thing, and then you're gonna go off and do another. So teach by example
Yes.
as well as observing our peers. Yep, those are the two things.
The
Because-
top word on that
Yeah.
list, imprinting, the groundwork, most of my understanding of my ethics and my values are given to me
By your parents.
when I'm a child. At my most impressionable, when they raise me, and I'm very much a product of my mother and my father, or the lack of my mother and my father, or the presence of my mother and the lack of my father. The imprinting we receive as children is a huge foundation.
Okay.
But still today, you two are imprinting on me right now.
Yeah.
The imprinting still happens to us every day.
So I get to interrupt you right now.
Uh-huh.
So,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be real honest today this last, but.
That's okay. I don't think I think you're among friends.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
You were imprinted by your grandparents.
Everyone
and
I've
your-
ever
and
had
your
contact
parents,
with.
Okay?
Yeah.
Sitting here today, do you think you're more ethical than your grandfather or grandmother?
I can't judge more, but I would say I hope to uphold.
That's kind of the way I would, but
Because, yeah, I would say,
Based-
yes, I am more ethical, but maybe not, I don't know.
yeah.
But I would
See,
say, yeah, I want to
and I don't
uphold.
think I am. It's not that I would go out and do something wrong, but the vision that I have on my grandfather.
Things are less unethical today.
Yes, my grandfather would.
Not opening a door for a lady. Something that your
Correct.
grandfather did every day,
He would
or is it
open-
something
Open a door.
a millennial
If I-
like me does never do?
Yeah, or if I sat there and said, God damn it,
Yeah. Don't take God's name in vain.
You're flying.
Yeah.
Right on the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking
So,
about
yeah, I
those
guess
things.
not.
My grandfather,
Yeah.
he was a very good, my grandparents and my parents. But I can see how over time that has slipped in society. And you can see it when you used to go watch Tarzan or something at the theater, or Roy Rogers or something like that. We would watch that, but the language and everything has, yeah, what you watch on TV.
Language
All
and,
TV is.
I used to
TV is what
tell
it
my
is.
grandkids.
Language and manners, yeah.
It used to be in my day, when they had a bra commercial.
Yeah,
The woman put the bra on over her clothes.
it was a living.
Now,
Yeah.
they're naked.
Pretty much,
You
pretty
know?
much.
Yeah.
I mean, and we become.
You're
even
down
us,
to your skivvies.
Even my sister and I'm 63, she's 64, become desensitized. She says, every program you watch now, they've either, and we're not prejudiced, but we're just
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
there's homosexuals, there's transgenders, they gotta fit their little niches in every program that you watch nowadays.
Mhm.
Also though, but I have to say, we're Catholic, born, bred, raised.
That doesn't mean I have to agree with it.
I do not, well, no, I don't agree with homosexuals. Or
You don't
not gonna
have
get
to.
into heaven.
That's your right.
Yeah, but then here just comes tonight, now the Boston, pedophile priest, et cetera, that's been going on forever.
I remember
And
that
the
too.
Pope's sitting back there and they protected these guys.
Nobody's
You
clean.
know what? They're not
Nobody's-
God, those people, they're
No.
humans, but they need to be prosecuted just like
Yes.
any other pedophile.
But deals were cut, and yes, this is the Catholic Church, and yeah, it's like anywhere you turn your head, no one's clean anymore. Yeah.
It's,
And so here we are trying to make a comfortable life for ourselves and our loved ones, and we think we can do it ethically, but yeah, it seems scary sometimes when you can't turn left or right and find anyone who's not willing to step on you to even get there.
Yeah, my sister and I are saying, you don't trust, I trust nobody.
Well, it's
I
a
don't
good
trust
value.
anybody.
is that you
It's a
or your
good
sister?
value.
Me and my sister, we don't trust anybody.
I don't disagree with that. You
You're
have to look out for yourself, you really do.
looking
But-
out for yourself and not trusting anybody. These what is that to you? Do you know what that is? What that decision, your decision to not trust anybody, you know what that is? It's a value. It's a value. This is a value I hold. Me and my sister, we decided that we would never trust anybody. That's a value you're going to try and uphold yourself to, right?
Yeah.
So let's walk through it really quick. What's a law? We know what a law is, right? This is a standard provided by our government that you face punishment for if you don't cooperate with that law. Yeah, what are values? Can you tell me what my values are? My values are what I believe.
I can't tell you what your values are, because your values were brought up, like we were talking, through our parents and everybody else.
Or generally.
And by laws.
Well, generally, what is the definition of values? What are my values generally? What are everyone's values? Your values are what you believe. I believe I shouldn't trust anybody. I believe in Christ and I'm a Catholic. My religion is a value to me. My decisions about how to treat people are values.
I
Yeah.
value your
My
opinion.
work-
Yes, I
My
value.
work ethics, coming to
My
work
work
on
ethics,
time,
yes.
leaving right, doing my
Mhm.
best 100% while I'm
Yeah.
there,
Major values most people can be in common with are religion and faith and work ethic and loved ones and stuff like that. These are the things you hold most valuable. These are what you believe. What are your morals? Can you tell me what your morals are?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Your morals are your specific perception of right and wrong. I've got values, and my morals apply to my values because my values tell me that I'm morally right. But that can be construed if you live in America versus South Africa, and I think murdering someone's all right. Right? Morals can be different widely from person to person. But your morals are your perception, your individual perception of right and wrong. So what are your ethics? Your ethics are your actions. Based on your values and your morals, you will take action on them every single day. And so acting ethically and being ethically in an ethical environment, this just has everything to do with what I do and my direct actions. Can either one of you tell me what one of us in this room has done already ethically today? Can you give me an example of something one of the three of us have done ethically today?
Well, we've been honest.
I got up this morning and went to work. That's pretty
You showed up to
ethical.
your class on time.
You guys showed up to my class. That's pretty ethical.
Yeah.
Even deeper because you had to do it because to maintain your license, which means you like your job. This is a pretty ethical decision to come to class. Yeah, I got up, I got dressed. I came to an insurance class to make sure I could protect my job. Yeah, these are very ethical decisions that I can recognize in you without even having to try very hard. And just based on those simple ones, I could tell you're probably a pretty good person, right? Your values are in line with me, your morals are in line with me, and you probably won't be having trouble with laws because of it. So you guys see how that correlates there with the morals, the values leading to your ethics? I think it's just a cool connection because people interchange these words all the time, but they all have something directly to do with each other in a single person.
They're all different.
Yeah.
I mean, our ethics, you know,
Nature, nurture,
all our ethics
where you're living, your
are
cultural,
different.
all that stuff plays
Yeah.
into how your ethics could be different.
Exactly. It's
I
all
was raised
imprinting.
by
Yeah.
a strict Catholic Navy man, 22 years. I'm not saying everything, but I learned that
Made you
no matter
better
what,
because of it.
that guy went to work every day, no matter how he was feeling, he provided for us. I never felt, well, there was 6 of us, I never felt lacking anything. I always had clothes on my back, food on the table.
But you saw how hard he struggled too.
We did fun things and stuff, and I see people today, I even have people in my office, you know, I don't feel like going to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna call in sick, even though I'm not really sick.
The excuse
And I
has
try
become
to
very-
have that thought process, because my sick time builds up like crazy. Even one of my bosses said, "You need mental health day." I can't do it unless I'm sick, okay? I can't do it. You're telling me I'm crazy? No. But that's just the way I was raised.
You were
I'm not-
you were imprinted to think differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was she was, I worked for 34 years and I was absent 4 days.
Wow, that's a
4
stretch. If that 4 days is a good number
And,
there.
and people know that, and I said, no, wait a minute.
That doesn't mean I wasn't working while I was in the Bahamas.
Ah,
Right?
I said, wait a minute, but I got like 6 weeks vacation a year, so if I was not feeling good, I would take vacation, but my health has been fine. But I tell people that,
what?
they say the same thing. You're crazy, you need to go see a psychiatrist. Well, I married one.
No, I don't have a problem with my ethic, my
But
actions, because that's what I wanted to do.
Well, the other part of it is we get, here I am drawing back again to the way we were raised, because I can,
Has everything to do with it.
through her conversation, I
Yeah.
can tell, we were raised that you do go to work. You know, you do put in a full day, and you do this and this and this. And those can be all ethics, values, or whatever. That's just the way it was. I can tell you, I could guess the way you raised your children, I raised my children. You hope they come up being
Better than you.
pretty good kids or better.
What you want is better,
That's what
right?
life is.
Yeah, best case
Yeah,
scenario, I made the next president.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. I want my 2 boys to be better educated, better person than I am. And that's what life is.
There's no one who should have ever wanted any different.
No.
Yeah.
My kids are 10 years apart. 47, 37, 27.
Oh, wow, how'd you do
And then
that?
I have 2 stepchildren, and they're right in between. them.
Okay.
And I have 13 grandchildren. And the one consistent thing I hear from all of them is, Mom, Grandma, she always went to work, no matter how she was feeling, she always provided. She is someone, when she said she was gonna do something, it happened,
Yeah.
you know, and because that's the way I was raised, but I wanted that security that I had for my children and my grandchildren as well. Yeah, some of the kids haven't turned out, my daughter's had a lot of trouble. My grandson was murdered 2 years ago.
So sorry to hear that.
And she's been having a real tough time getting through that and stuff. But,
Condolences.
then I just lost my parents here in the last couple of months.
Condolences.
And my ex-husband.
I'm so
It's been
sorry.
a real grief-stricken 2 years.
No, I'm so sorry.
But I still have a job to do. I still have a job that if I'm gone, that affects everybody else's flow. And I'm there
The
for
ones you care
the
about.
kids, the grandkids, and everything when they need that shoulder, or just this thing like this road trip.
The people
Her
you
mama
care
couldn't
about.
make it, so I did it, even though I'm 63 years old, and it's a long time
That
since
road
I did
trip
a
you're
road
talking about, yeah.
But, it's making a commitment, or saying you're gonna do something, and following through with it.
It very much is.
But I've never had to spank my kids, never had to spank my grandchildren. I got a lot of spankings growing up. My nickname was Sassy, okay? And I was a sassy kid. Called it like I saw it. I had a look, perfected. And I finally asked them, I said, why are you guys so afraid of my look? She was, because Grandma, we knew you were always somebody, followed through. You didn't give it a second, you said it, and we knew that if we did it again, there was going to be that consequence. And when
Imprinted.
they did something wrong, I didn't spank them. They had a consequence, and I made sure that consequence was something that was gonna affect them. Nowadays, it's taking away their stinking electronics, you know, but with my kids, it was not letting them watch TV or do their Atari. That's all.
Yeah, the old video games, yeah.
You know, not having friends over, not going to friends, maybe not doing a school function, but I made sure that the consequence was something that they would feel.
Yes.
Not some lame thing like, you know,
Yes.
go stand in the corner for timeout. Come on, please, really?
I wouldn't have a problem breaking the law if I didn't fear the consequence.
Right, exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
It applies directly, because that's, I mean, everything you did from making sure you went to work every day to provide for your loved ones, all the way down to punishing them when well-deserved and making sure that they knew, it's all imprinting, yeah. I read a funny quote on the Facebook a couple days ago. It makes me think of this. Your story makes me think of it. You raise your kids so you can spoil your grandchildren. Because if you spoil your kids, you end up having to raise your grandchildren.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I have raised my grandchildren. My kids have.
Because yeah, you'll know what I mean. If
So, and
yeah,
I was
if mom ever
51.
took a dive there,
I got a
yeah,
16-year-old boy,
grandma's the one who
10-month-old.
picks up.
2-year-old, 4-year-old, and an 8-year-old at 51, still working full-time. I eventually had to stop and take a leave of absence and stuff. And my
That
ex-husband
was
used to
for
call me
you.
KGB grandma.
Okay, well, so we're gonna take a 10-minute break right now.
All right.
So you guys can stretch your legs or do
But it
what
was
you want.
KGB grandma, because I said, with happening at my age, with all this going on, I had to have a real structure. And honestly,
Yeah.
that was the first time my grandkids had any real structure. They loved it.
Yeah.
I know when I'm going to bed, I know when I'm eating, I know when I'm bathing, I know when I'm going to
It was
school.
hard on you.
We're not
They
eating
fought
out
you
at
about
McDonald's
it.
every night.
Yeah. But no, they ended up better people because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're done with this.
Oh, yeah, just put
Oh,
you got 8:30 there, you can just wait for that until we're done.
That's seriously the ethical question they always ask.
Right.
Wait a minute, you can't write the timeout, that's ethics.
Right, not until we're done, no.
We always talk about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Tournament and everything.
Can I ask if there's anybody from
I'm
the
a
state here?
CIC, okay? All the CIC sit in the back of the classroom, and they used to have their it's a certified insurance company.
Oh, I see. You're held to a higher standard. Oh, wow, okay.
But all the CIC sit in the back of the classroom with their laptops and newspapers, they're not even paying attention to class.
Yeah.
But they got tired of that CIC instructions, so no laptops, no newspapers.
I'm supposed to hold the same
And I
standard for this class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that door's still wide open.
You're still going to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of it is the same.
Even if you know all of it, there's still one bit in there. Yeah, one
That's
bit.
where I take it all in.
Exactly. That well, door's wide open, you go anywhere out there. I just wanted to make sure it was still open for you. Yeah.
Two people,
I know.
you should have called me and said, canceled.
No,
I have
will
all,
give it to
I have
you.
all my credits out till 2 years from now.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I figure I'd come in.
Oh, very cool.
And,
No, glad to see you.
yeah, you could have canceled me out. I haven't been to
This is-
Serve Pro, and it was interesting, I'm going, I'm gonna try that out. Because I've had people call on me, like I said, I had house burned and everything,
Yeah.
and then, a plus for you is, how she moved. We had one of the insurance offices over by the main post office.
Here in town?
Yeah, on 25th Street, the main post office.
Uh-huh.
If you go to the next house down, that's an insurance company. That was Farmers Insurance with Grant and Star and all of that. And then,
Oh, yeah, Farmers, that was right over here.
yeah,
Yeah. That was that little house that was right next door.
yeah. So when you walk in there, Grant sold it. He got out of the insurance business because Farmers was basically just getting rid of all their senior people. They
Yeah.
just-
The carriers have done some crazy things in the last bunch of decades.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So he often retired and moved to George.
There's some lady over there now, isn't it?
She's out of there now, well, she'll be out of there now, she's moving.
That's right, I thought it might have even closed already.
But
too.
she has in her office, Serve Pro business cards
Yeah,
all over the place.
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, I'm going, wait a minute.
Well, because it can get repetitive and
Because you
even,
got Serve Pro and Service Master. the
Pretty
two
much,
bits, okay?
yeah.
And,
but if I'm just throwing a business card at you and they just get thrown on the floor, I mean, what
oh,
good
no,
am I
no,
doing?
no. And, I said, well, I got a guy, I go to one of the classes and see what's going on.
Oh, this is how you
And
came
you,
on.
and you have a lot of classes.
Mhm.
I was looking.
Yeah, we've done a lot this year. This is
Yeah,
the
all
most
my
we've done.
classes, I usually get a year in advance, so I don't have to have them done till 2020, well, it's every 2 years.
Yeah, the license, that's the, you have to
Yeah.
have so many credits every 2 years.
And I usually, whatever class you have available, I'll grab it 20 hours because
Yeah, just to keep
I
up on
honestly,
it.
I do about 15 minutes work. And
Yeah.
I just travel. I just got
That's
back
nice.
from Boise.
Idaho,
Yeah, from Weiser, Idaho.
Very fun.
Boise.
and that was for pleasure, not for work.
Yeah, I took my mother over there and
Oh, fun.
dropped her off at Weiser and then drove her car back and got sleep last night and I was here today.
Hey, very cool, very cool. Well, it doesn't sound like you had
I
any fun
almost
in Boise.
called. Oh, no.
Because, yeah, you come to any of them, I mean, we've always got our schedule posted or
Yeah.
take it with you, and then you don't have to worry about, I
Yeah.
can't make it, just don't come.
Well, the 3 days before, I was in Newport.
Well, I guess you could call us and say, yeah.
I was in Newport and, God, it was cool over there. I stayed over there 3 days, took the motor home over there.
I love Newport.
Oh, there's a lot to do over
Mm-hmm.
there. And,
It's a harbor town.
yeah, but I didn't take my boat. The crabbing was excellent, salmon fishing and
the
bottom
salmon
fishing was
fishing.
excellent.
Ah.
It's just picking up big time now.
Yep. Which is good, I love that. I used to be a commercial salmon fisherman.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, up in Alaska. And it's hard sometimes to watch the fluctuation in salmon return and the government regulation on fishing, and because that changes year to year.
It's crazy the last 2 or 3 years. My wife's,
Because it's bouncing back. I'm really
yeah,
glad to
my
see that.
nephew that runs a boat out of Juneau.
Juno.
In fact, that's where I'm headed in 5 days.
Very fun.
I'm gonna, we cruise.
It's a perfect time of year to go to Alaska.
Yeah, well, we cruise up out of Seattle.
Yeah, you take the inside passage all the way up. Yeah.
We cruise up and then, in our case, we don't cruise back. In your cruises, you can, a lot of people don't realize, you cruise up and stay. You can stay a month, 2 weeks or whatever, and then you
Totally.
take your cruise back.
You could take a couple cruises all the way up the Inside Passage, along the bottom side of the Gulf, and then all the way
Yeah.
out to the Panhandle, or what do they call, what are those boat fishing for crab out of? The last town that's really out there on the end.
I know where you're, yeah.
Yeah,
Depot Bay?
Depot Bay. Yeah, you could take the cruise all the way out to Depot Bay. It's kind of less beautiful
Well,
out there,
it's-
but
yeah, I have a good friend that,
colder.
I have a friend that been to Alaska. I don't know. Oh, well.
And I fished out of Valdez there.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's over at the bottom of Alaska, outside of the
Right,
passage.
right.
Yeah, Juneau's in the passage.
Far up.
Yeah, no, that fishing, that'd be, I'd love to do that again someday. I mean, it was the best time of my life.
Yeah, I would,
It was the best time of my life. But one year I made less than I would have made working a minimum wage job. But one year I made $40,000, you know, in 4 months, yeah.
no, it's, we, yeah, I'm headed up there, then I come back and I have 2 boring months in Oregon, then I end up going down to Mexico for a month. But,
This guy's a globe hopper. He's just bouncing
well,
around.
I'm like anybody else, you work for it, and
You know,
I'll back up a little why I do that. My wife was diagnosed with cancer about two years ago,
so sorry.
and she's okay.
Good.
She's fine.
Good.
She's beating it, has it, I think, pretty well beat.
It's good to hear.
But when I said I retired when I was 54, which I did, I had 2 boys to raise, and there wasn't much around, so I raised them. And I went and worked a couple jobs, which I mentioned, and I said, the heck with it.
Were those your grandchildren?
No, my boys.
Oh, right.
And so then after that diagnosis, or right before that diagnosis, I said, you know, you're never getting younger, you might as well go travel.
So we need to put some of this stuff down that we've been carrying too long and do something
Yeah,
that puts
I
a
just-
smile on my face.
And let's go.
See, I adopted that after Bailey was killed. It was just 3 months of his 19th birthday.
The changes
And I was
here.
like, yes, my job is important to my livelihood, but it's not more important than my family. So I've taken time off without pay if I had to attend things with my grandchildren and my kids and
Yeah.
do things. My intention was to retire, so I could spend more time. My older sister and I were both divorced, so she's lived with my parents for 20 years, and I've lived there for the last 7. And so we got that chance as adults to interact with our mother and father. And plus, the last several years have been actually caregiving for them. And my dad's death was sudden, death, flu, all that stuff. My mom had been in nursing home for a year. But I wanted to retire to be able to spend more actual quality time with them, and it didn't happen. So,
That's not unusual.
yeah, so I've stuck to my retirement date.
Well, because you've taken steps to make sure you spend more time with your other loved ones, your young family and stuff, and there's no case scenario where you will ever regret that.
No.
I lost my job because I went to my child's soccer game. You still won't be regretting that in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, yeah, the regret comes from, I mean, you had the opportunity, but it's gone now, and you never realized it. That's where regret comes from. Which has everything, regret affects our ethics too. It really does.
But I won't ask.
No, go ahead.
No, so there had to be more to that story. You lost your job because you went to your child's soccer game.
That was like extreme case scenario example.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah.
thought you did. I'm
No,
like,
no.
well, somebody-
Like you take time
somebody
off
had
even if it's
their
without
guy
pay.
Screwed up, and it wasn't you.
That wasn't a real story, no.
Well,
Well, I've noticed though, like in our office, like the one personal lines desk, I've seen a lot of turnover since the one gal left. And the next gal they got in there, I don't know why she came back to work, honestly. She had, children in their mid-teens and so forth, a lot of problems, and she was you know, in the first 6 months, well, in the 6 months that she worked there, she was gone probably 24 days, calling in sick for something with kids, you know, which put a burden on the rest of the staff here. And,
It's pretty unethical.
well, yeah, it's like, why, I asked her one day, I said, why did you come back to work if you knew you were going to? Well, because my husband had student loans I was going to pay off. Not because she really wanted to. You know, and
That's
it's
people's
like-
work ethic.
Yeah, and she hadn't worked for years, 15 years.
I got debt too. That doesn't mean I'm complaining about it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, she had no backup plan for her kid. You know, and I have to tell you, honestly, I was a single mom for most of my life. I always had a backup plan. You know, if it was an emergency, of course I stayed home. But I usually worked at an agency too, where you didn't have sick time. It wasn't until I worked for Premier that I got all those little fishy things. So not going to work meant no paycheck, which could mean not paying a bill and or no food on the table. Like that. I always had a backup plan.
There's
Always
serious
had to make-
consequences for your actions.
But I just, the snowflakes today and their work ethics, holy smokes, I was just blown away. You know, if you can keep them for 2 years, you're gonna be darn lucky. 'Cause
It is
they're
my
ready- They wanna
generation.
walk into your office
I'm
with no
sick of it.
experience and be the top dog.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't think so.
I was just thinking that.
I'm
When he was talking.
I'm ashamed of every millennial and everyone that's even close to my age because, yeah, we are
But it's not
sucking.
everybody too. I mean, you know, you can.
I think I'm a great individual.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's so many people my age that just, you can't even keep them at a desk for two years because, it's ridiculous. The work ethic is in the toilet. The ethics are in the toilet.
My nephew works up in the foreman. You know, when I left, I was making 6 figures, okay, so I wasn't hurting. My nephew works out of Portland. He doesn't have a clue what. And when he went to work, he thought he was going to make a high salary. Well, this is what I expect. I said, well, good luck. It only took me 30 years to get there and all of this. He was very disappointed when he got hired at his salary.
At the salary they gave
But
me.
you're right, there's just,
Well, because times are different, sir, and I think that for the least amount of skills needed, I should be paid $20 an hour.
Hey, pretty much. Did you see that one on Facebook? That was a long time ago, a millennial interview. I won't be to work until 10.
oh,
I need a 2-hour lunch. You want me to know what?
Right.
It was just-
Oh, I don't need to do that. I can find that on here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, like it's bad. I know it, guys. You don't have to hold it back from in front of me because I know it's bad.
Well, I was office manager at my last job, and the guys were real happy about that, because he didn't like the fire department thing,
Yeah.
or the training.
yeah.
Yeah, we had a little gal there, she was like 18 or something. She'd come in whenever she wanted, she'd take long breaks, take long lunches,
Yeah.
and I got the word to her, she needs to be fired. So she walked in the next day, whenever she got there, I said, I need you to pack up your stuff, and I'll need your key, because you no longer work for us. Well, why? I said, well, I actually need somebody who's gonna come to work and work.
Yeah.
And
I will
you're not
explain
doing
it
the to
job.
job.
And
She's still flabbergasted.
unless something changes, unless she changes something fundamentally about herself, she pretty much can only expect to ever be kind of making the bottom dollar.
I think a lot of that attitude is from, I'm sorry, a lot of my daughter's era had a tendency to try,
a little older
because my
than me.
mom, my daughter, I call her Disneyland mom. You know, they're always going somewhere, doing something, blah, 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 and I said, nothing's ever a treat. She gives them a big birthday party every stinking year. You know, 16's not special then, or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, and so in the summertime, you know, I'm tired, she's got fibromyalgia and all this other stuff, and they're wanting to go, 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 and I said, you know, that's not reality. That isn't reality. You know, your kids, put them to chores, you know.
Yeah.
Have them read books instead of being on their, literally, they're all three in the same room doing this the whole time.
Yeah, that's
That's
quiet
when grandma's
too.
in the house. Grandma's got her basket, phones are right here. I mean, I am technology based.
Well, because it's
But
not just
that's
that
not
you'll
how
take
we-
away their fun, but you will also engage them.
Yeah.
You will engage them and give them something else to do or be in front of them. Yeah, because it's,
But on
The
the
phones.
other side, you know, I'm proud of my two boys, but on the other side, I have a half brother. And my older boy is 20, well, the young one's 21, the other one's 23. One's in medical school, Florida State. And the other one is going to school and holds 2 jobs. He works half-time at a LAE and then Sherman-Williams. And they got a work ethic. But what I was gonna say is, you got this good side, but then you always, every family has, my brother's 2 kids,
I get that there's a difference,
he's
a
20,
differential.
28 and still at home,
Yeah.
and doesn't work.
And it's just the fundamental personality of
The
these
way it is.
individuals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how I think my
Because even
daughter
with the
is.
best imprinting, I can still turn out with not the greatest ethics.
And both my son,
Correct, yeah.
my oldest boy, he's gonna retire from the Army at 55. He'll be retiring at the same time I do, or 50 actually, so 3 years. Doing great, got home, 3 kids.
That's what
My
I-
youngest boy is gonna turn 28 at the end of this month, and he's a logger, making, don't tell me about your next raise, okay, because you're still making more money than I. But he's got, him and his gal are getting ready to buy a house and all this other stuff, so they really, but both of them also have their trying times. I'm sorry, drugs in our society today kill a lot of potential, you know? and
But before-
Each of my 3 kids have gone through that route. The 2 boys pulled their heads out of their asses and got along, and my daughter was doing good until her son got killed. And then she just, you know,
Something fundamentally
Yeah.
changed
Yeah.
in all of them.
yeah.
They decided that I'm not gonna let this drag.
Everything in Europe was paid for. They
Yeah.
picked up the tab.
Plane ticket, hotel,
Yeah.
rental car.
One year I took 13 employees with me. My employees were valuable to me.
It's all bonus.
Took 13 people over, they paid it all.
Yeah. You
Did
pay
we- Did we
taxes.
buy the equipment? Yeah.
But it took you 3 weeks to do it.
The only reason we bought it
Yeah.
is there was nobody in the United States that would make it.
Oh, yeah,
They
you
don't
had to
build
travel.
it. So there was only 2 companies that you could buy it from. and
We're
they were-
going to see 'em.
They were next to each other in Hamburg.
Yeah.
Not the
We're
same
going to
one.
Hamburg.
So those are, like you're saying, those are business costs.
Yeah,
But when you get back to.
taxes have been paid on these bonuses and
You
these
know, I have no
good
problem
times.
with, like you said, Sun River, flowers, but people on the floor that work for Boise,
Mhm.
like supervisors, you had to sign off, it was $50, you know, somebody take you to dinner, or they give you.
Is it unethical for me to come into your office as a vendor, such as myself, and say, I will give you a $20 bill every referral you send?
Yeah,
That is unethical.
yeah,
That's bribery.
yeah, it's the same as,
That's not a bonus, that's bribery. Because I'm an outside source. I'm asking for your referrals, which you can send me, but not based on under the table exchange.
yeah, you legally can't do it.
Yeah, I'll give you a $50 bill every time you send me a referral. That's unethical, because yeah, that'll create offices that are only weighted one side. You know, I do this because I get a cherry on top, you know, from the serve pro guy. Yeah, no, that's unethical. Yeah. But me buying you lunch, you saying I will send you my referrals, these things aren't unethical. But me paying for it is. You expecting money out of me for it is. Well, you'll get money out of it though, but that'll be reflected in claim ratios and satisfied customers and word of mouth. That's how these things pay off. Yeah. All insurance carriers must adhere to any and all state and federal regulations. Your quality, the value of your insurance policy directly relates to the vendors that handle the claim. If I handle a claim like crap, if I handle a home claim like crap, it reflects directly onto the product you sold them.
Yeah.
So, do you have an understanding of the vendors that your customers are using? In my case, when I have to go into your personal home with your personal belongings, do you know if I'm background checked? Do you know if I'm felony free or dishonest? Do you know if I've met the proper insurance requirements? Do you know if I am regulated by OSHA, but do you know that I'm upholding the standard? These are things that you should know about anyone you do refer, ever. Or even if you haven't referred them and you see a customer using someone that you might think be sending irreputable employees into their home, you should say, hey, maybe you need to, I can't speak for this company, and I want you to take a closer look at them, right? Yeah, that's not unethical, because you need to know these things to make sure your customer service is on point. If your policy that you sold needs me, I'm servicing your product. It directly relates to your product, and you want me to be as valued as possible.
Right.
Yeah. And there's no other interest in it but that. You should be sure that I follow all of these guidelines that you have to follow yourselves.
Which is pretty easy these days. It's hard to run a successful business without a BBB license or a BBB accreditation and all sorts of training and certifications. And yeah, it's hard. And following OSHA, I can't have OSHA come and kicking in my door. So yeah, we follow OSHA guidelines too, And so it's hard. I mean, that's why so many people don't care so much, is because of course I know you're a reputable vendor. You're sure, bro. Well, yeah, sure, bro.
Right.
What?
You got a bunch of humans working.
Yeah, make sure. Yeah, make sure. Independently owned and operated does in some ways mean I'm on my own, and so make sure that I'm running my business right. Yeah. If I'm going to be servicing your customer.
Do you have to, how do you guys, let's see, so you would be insured. You don't have to individually be insured because you have your,
What do you mean, me and my employees?
yeah,
Yeah, no, we're insured as a business.
you're insured as just normal, as
Yeah.
a business.
And then each individual employee is insured not on their policies, but I have a policy with SAFE
Right.
that says if they get hurt,
Okay.
that's not their insurance.
But you don't
It's
have
my
that.
insurance.
You don't have to carry the errors and omissions type of policy.
Probably,
Like
maybe.
like we do.
Well, if I go into someone's home and then I restore their home and then I leave their home and they turn around and say, this is missing. Does that fall under errors and omissions?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because if the customer turns around and
I
says,
was
this
just
is
thinking
missing,
out loud.
now I need to prove I didn't take it.
Well, that's a whole different issue.
I thought it fell into
That'd be
that.
handled different.
How does errors and omissions fall in though?
Well, let me give you an example.
Because I don't have one.
We had, and I've been Premier Insurance and the CSR. She said, a customer called, I want to add this vehicle, I want liability, comp, collision, the works. She sends the endorsement request into the company, comes back, and she didn't even check it, she just sticks it in the system. A year later, the insured has a claim on this. It only had liability.
I didn't
Okay.
tell you about the full
Company says it's
coverage.
your responsibility to have checked that when it came back in to make sure it was correct,
Yep.
and not ours.
Yep.
Okay, guess who played that? Premier Insurance's errors and omissions policy.
Yep.
So it's along those lines.
Premier was liable because they couldn't prove, the customer said that I thought I had coverage, but I don't. And then Premier couldn't prove that they spoke about that
The
specific.
endorsement that went to the company request said have this coverage.
Yeah.
The CSR, when it came in, didn't check to make sure that the endorsement actually had that
Yeah.
coverage.
Yeah, which was
That's where the ball
provable,
got dropped.
which was provable, direct
Yes.
liability. Yep. So I get that now, yeah, errors and omissions. Have you ever heard of a policy where a customer has a loss? Let's say it's flood, because flood is a separate policy on its own. Let's say you have an insured for both like multiple lines, home, car, but not flood. the customer has a flood and then sues your carrier because you never, and his suit states that you never offered him flood. Are you liable as a carrier?
It was never offered, never asked for it. No.
Never offered, is what he says.
Well, the duty is on the end of that person making the claim to show that they asked for it,
Right.
not ours. And the problem is, though,
You
the other
understand the
end,
citizen
I
has
understand
a,
exactly what you're saying, but
Yeah.
in an office, especially with all these agency management systems, everybody's desk should be consistent about how they handle things,
yeah,
which is the only reason that held up. That claim, I had another one in another office too, where I had to go be a witness to say, yes, our office always did this.
we did
This gal
offer this
wanted-
guy.
Did
Yeah.
not increase her uninsured motorist coverage, her husband was killed crossing the street, going all the way to the coast. She said, blah, 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 and we actually had a signed document for it.
Yeah, because testimony counts, but yet, no judge, look right here, I wrote it in my notes, we offered him this coverage, and this is the coverage he took. Yeah.
But it would be a documentation in the system saying Joe Blow called and
Denied,
asked
yeah.
for flood insurance, we quoted him, they didn't want it, somehow get it signed off, and emails are great now.
Yes.
Because you can always attach
Great
those.
documentation.
That's how I do everything with my clients now.
Yeah.
Even the older people are really, into it, because it's right there, date, time, everything, you can't change it.
Because my scenario is,
But everybody in the office has to be consistent about their documentation. Because if every desk is doing their own damn thing, then when you go to court,
there's no one who can testify.
hello, no, not everybody's doing the same.
Yeah, nobody can testify at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because outside of documentation, a good testimony is the last thing to rely on. And in my situation, I'm suing you because you never offered me flood insurance. Well, if I can't remember where I was going with that. Well,
You were saying that is a person able to?
Oh, it boils
sue you
down,
if
the-
You didn't offer.
yeah, well, that basically boils down to word of mouth.
Yeah.
Or not word of mouth, I meant my word versus your word.
Yeah.
But in America, in the court systems of America, it's very most often that a private citizen will win any suit against a company. So yes, if the company says, I can't prove I did offer it, then I'm actually liable.
Well, a company's not going to say that statement right there.
No, if
But-
I say I'm suing you because
Okay.
you never offered me flood, and you can't prove that you did offer me flood, you're gonna lose that case.
Honest to God, I've never had it.
Yeah,
That
never,
ever.
yeah.
If I say I'm gonna sue you for not offering me flood, but you have an email that says we should talk about flood, and I said, no, I don't want
Oh, well,
to,
then that's different.
that's
than what
proving
just
that
said.
you offered it.
That's just,
And good documentation.
yeah, that's different, but if that scenario didn't happen, I mean, if you just out of the blue.
Yeah, well, because I am your
You're
customer.
not gonna win that case.
I have a flood, but I don't have coverage, and now I'm saying you never offered me that coverage.
Right.
You're actually liable if you
I know
can't
that.
prove that you did.
I have a federal arbitration case like that.
Right. So all
There's no way you can win.
Do you agree that maybe you could agree that it is your responsibility to offer coverages that you see that's needed to a customer? Which means you would have
no,
offered flood,
no.
right?
No, because I wouldn't be able to sit down and offer you.
I could be totally off base, I'm just
Yeah.
having a conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't expect you to be a public and her as an insurance agent. For her, when you walk in and I want to insure my house, my expectation is she may ask, as a courtesy or coverage, ask you,
Let's talk about flood.
do you live in a floodplain?
Yeah, let's talk about flood.
Do you live here or whatever? I don't.
As I understand it, it's actually your responsibility if you're about to sell me a home claim, a home policy. You need to cover all of the bases.
I didn't, that's not the way I.
I could
or-
understand it wrong,
or-
yeah.
You don't want me on
Right.
you don't want me
Yeah.
on a jury because I don't expect her to say, I must offer you flood insurance, earthquake insurance, wind insurance, and this insurance, because you can write anything and everything. You can write a ton of money.
Anything can be underwritten.
It's
Yeah.
not her obligation to do that. Now, there may be something out
You
there
know what,
that says that.
everybody always tries to put the onus on the insurance agent or the insurance company. The insurance buying public also has their responsibilities. You know, they
Yeah.
need to know what they want and ask for it. Plus, I see a lot of problems with, anymore, I've just gotten really crazy that people don't pay their insurance bills until they get the cancellation notice. Do you know what? I'm having companies now saying, okay, this is the third time, we're not reinstating these people.
Drop them. Yeah.
The third time, yeah, or the
We're
fourth
tired of
time.
this.
Well, me as that, because specifically with the insurance industry, me as a customer, I actually very technically can't be expected to know what I need.
No, but you
That's
can
fair.
too, because here we go back with the media again.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't care how old you are, is not gonna be aware of natural disasters and everything else.
Yeah, right, but I just bought a home.
So maybe you're not in a floodplain, or maybe you're not in an earthquake area, you're still gonna say, what about earthquake insurance? You know,
Well, you can't expect that out of me. What if I don't know that there's coverage?
I'm sorry.
That's the way it goes, too bad.
But yeah, well, yeah, because there's a lot to be
Make
said
yourself
for
knowledgeable.
your
You
own.
got the internet, you
my
got
own
TV, you
liability.
got friends, you got family.
I was trying to think of the statement that I'll think of it you're saying. It's, what is it, stupidity is not an excuse?
Yeah, and we don't insure that.
What would say it again?
Stupidity is not an excuse.
I think some of my generation would disagree.
Yeah.
I think the public is far more aware of everything that's out there than sometimes the insurance agent.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
not
definitely
fair to
more
some
informed than
insurance.
I ever have been.
Yeah, you guys, us guys, all of us. are
Yeah, as a society.
So well informed because
Yeah.
it's.
This is the
everything's
age of
here.
information.
You don't have to
Yeah.
have a computer.
You can fact check me right now without ever leaving the room. How cool is that, right? This is the age of information, it truly is. There's 2 points in time where you interact directly with your customer.
Yeah.
2 main points, during the sale and during the claim, right? I mean, obviously, you send emails back and forth in between and check coverages hopefully often and re-quote and stuff like that. But 2 main points, policy, claim purchase. This is a cool old doc. I examined this once with the class and it started a pretty good conversation. Yeah, there's a
Fire
National Insurance Company of Boston. It looked like I see $15 here, but then there's 2 45s for a 90, and it's 1867. And but the capital's at 300 thou there. Back in 1867.
We have 1894 paper in the office. Larson Flynn is number 2 with Oregon Mutual. Number 2 agent with Oregon Mutual. So
Is it an actual Larson and Flynn policy from, no,
It's-
not way back then.
Yeah, it's a policy that was written way back then. Larson Flynn's been around for a while.
It's got,
National agency. The
Yeah.
guys that own it now are
yeah,
none of them.
it's a name that stems from history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Can you guys
I
make
was
sense?
gonna say, wondering if that was one of the papers.
Right? Well,
June 30th.
National Insurance.
Well, we can't read it, but we can
Yeah,
always
I've
stand
got-
up and stretch our legs.
Yeah, because I asked people to try and make sense of the $15 over here and then the 45 and 45 to get to 90. And I can't read that
45,
to save my life.
Mechanics risk.
Is that,
Whoops,
oh, turned it.
this is mechanics risk.
Risk? I think you might be right about that.
Looks like mechanics risk for $45. I don't know what the top one,
That's another
there was
45.
something in here
Oh, you-
at one time.
Yeah, there's more words there.
So there's 45.
And I bet the mechanics risk is what we would call now the state tax.
Yeah, 45, expires June 30.
Because the capital means I'm insured up to 300, right? 300,000? Is that what that means?
That's an assumption,
I think so, yeah.
I guess. Because you have no, was there only one piece of paper? That's.
Yeah, this is all I have. Yeah, this is the only picture I have.
I guess it would
Yeah.
cover up to a max of 3,000, I mean, 300,000.
Yeah. That's what I assumed too, yeah.
I'm looking at names.
Me
Oh,
too.
because at the top it says fire, right at the top it's definitely
Yeah,
a fire
it's a
policy.
fire.
Yeah, it's a fire policy,
Yeah, what did fire cover? Who knows?
right?
Did it fire, was it just the building,
Oh,
or was it contents, or was it?
yeah, because we don't have that paper.
I hope there was more than one piece of paper.
Yeah, there probably was, yeah.
That's pretty vague.
Was there only one piece of paper?
Probably was multiple pieces of paper. Yeah, there's some stuff where I've never been able to make out what was across the top there.
Mr.
Oh, maybe it says Eisenhower. Oh,
M-E-N,
he wasn't alive in
It's like a-
1867.
it's like an Elizabeth 3D.
Yeah. We always think that's interesting, because it always.
They're always fun to look at.
Yeah,
But there
it's
better be-
created a lot of
Do you
great.
come into our
better be-
office, Sean?
Say again?
Do you come into our office?
Yes, I have a Johanna. She just walked out before class began. She
No, I
comes-
mean you.
No, not me.
Oh.
I've got a different rep who comes to see you
I
guys.
was gonna say you should come to me at my desk, because all those old policies are right behind me.
Oh, cool, because I will. I'll come
Old,
by.
old pictures.
I will. I'll come by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's gotta have more than one page.
It must, yeah. Okay, you guys. Ethics in the work environment means
Yeah.
ethics in the service providers, doctors, lawyers, salespeople, engineers, mitigation specialists. These are all people who will be involved with a claim, or one of many. Yeah, any one of those. So now we're gonna go through a couple exercises. We're gonna move quickly through the first two because you guys are almost done here.
Yeah.
But the third one's pretty interesting, and I think you guys will want to talk about it. Your boss is giving you some ambitious goals for the forthcoming year. You have some high-dollar products in your inventory of offerings. Selling these products would help you meet your ambitious goal and receive a substantial bonus. You know some customers who can afford these products, even though you believe they don't need them. How would you handle this issue? Would you bring it up to the customer?
Yes. Because even though you believe they may not
I like that point of view.
be, they may.
Let me get more information.
Yeah.
I like that. Let me understand better if I have my own opinions right. I like that. Because so many offer the officers, no, I can't sell you something you don't need. What if I don't know you right? Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I heard this. I didn't know you wrote that.
I like that
Yeah,
approach.
you gotta throw it out
What
there.
is this? Oh, yeah. Don't use drugs and alcohol. Don't steal time from your employer. Oh. A coworker asked to use your company your company car for personal use. What do you do?
Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna.
I mean, I'll give you a ride with Serpro's car, but I can't let you take Serpro's car away
Well,
from
let
me.
me borrow it, you know, what's gonna happen? That's when it's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. A career employee is hired on September 1st, lives paycheck to paycheck. For the December holidays, right, that's the only reason September matters, it's been only a couple months here. But for the December holidays, he wants to be with his aged father who lives on the East Coast, but he has short vacation time. What do you do?
Well, what they do, okay, you take it without pay.
Offer it without pay? Well, he lives paycheck to paycheck, so we'll assume that he can't go without pay, but he's asking for it.
Sorry, this isn't a work. This is a job.
That's not unethical.
No, no. You go to work for somebody, you're expected to be there.
Yeah.
And you have everything laid out for you before you go. Now, when I got hired on at Larson Flint, we'd already planned and paid for a trip to Hawaii with my parents. I'm so glad we did that. That was in 2013. And I told them, I says, I can start after this because I have this going on. They said, no, we'd like you to start now. You can have that time off. Of course, it's going to be without pay, et cetera. So it was already in the works when I got hired. So did this guy make that plan?
Yeah.
Still, it's going to be out of his
It's bad
pocket.
planning.
because Unless you're an exemplary employee already, because of my work ethics, I've gotten a few things. I mean, without pay. I mean, I've got time off, able to take it off without pay. But I work 50 extra minutes every month, every week, because I'm at my desk already at 20 after 8, working and stuff. I mean, do my job.
He's only short 8 hours,
So-
but he's only worked September, October, November, and now he wants time off in December.
Yeah.
So in 3 months, he's able to accrue almost enough hours, but
That'll
not
be up
giving
to
it
the
to them.
employer.
Right, because another very ethical answer that people have come up with is pool the office. Who is willing to share, donate some of their sick
Vacation
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've done that.
Yeah, what does that mean as the employer though, if you're willing to take that step? You have to be willing to do the same thing for
For
everyone
everybody
else.
else.
It's not unethical to actually just say yes and give him. Because maybe he's a great employee and you want to give it to him. What does that mean about your other employees though? You have to be willing to
They're
do the
out there
same thing.
expectations.
You have to be willing to
Like
do the
you did for
same thing,
so-and-so.
right? Which might make no a credible answer. No, I'm not willing to do this for you.
When I was at Boise, we had a young lady there, her son had cancer. And I was hourly then,
Uh-huh.
and the company had to approve it, but we ended up giving up vacation time. Our vacation time we allotted to her. We gave her almost a year off.
Dang.
And she got paid
Mm-hmm.
as if it was our vacation time.
Yep. It was deducted from you and given to
And,
her. And is as good as money to the company.
There's some ways to do that. You know, when I look at that, it's a career employee,
Oh, yeah, right?
so it's
Said
a
that.
career employee for December.
There's some
Yeah,
specific
there's
words. in
ways
there.
to work around that easily.
Yeah, there's multiple ethical answers. Yeah.
And that happens, I think that happens more than you really
Oh, sure.
want to believe in the workforce where people have donated their floating holiday.
Unfortunately, if you
or-
work for a small agency.
It's tough.
you don't get
There's
those
less
benefits.
flexibility, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I only get 10 days sick time a year, I'm not giving you any of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A whole lot less
I've
flexible.
taken off a week for deaths and burials and all this, and
Yeah.
if I didn't have vacation time to lose, or use, I had to use,
Sick time or no pay?
No sick time for that.
Oh, yeah, no sick time.
A little bigger companies, and what a great PR, you know, just positive reinforcement for the crews and.
Oh, yeah.
But you.
If we could all come
The smaller
together.
the company, you wouldn't be.
Or if I'm I'm happy with everyone I employ, I give him the 8 hours just gratis, and that means I'm willing to do that for anyone else.
But yeah.
Because I made that decision.
That's where it gets
Yeah.
touchy, whether it's a non-union shopper.
Oh,
Because whether you like it or not, they're in it to make money, not
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
give it away.
Your customer that has been subject to what they believe is hurricane damage. Your customer has a home that has been subject to what they believe is hurricane damage. The house is near the coast and a hurricane has been designated by the government. However, due to their inland location, the adjuster has deemed this loss flood for which they have no coverage. Is this flood or is this hurricane, and what advice or help would you give? And there's a picture.
How?
Yeah, I was looking at that, definitely.
Well, I was reading first, but yeah, this is the picture that this scenario is talking about, this question.
So,
Your customer believes it's hurricane damage, it's near the coast, and a hurricane has happened, designated by the government and FEMA. But the adjuster shows up and says this is flood.
yeah, I would challenge it. I mean, if I was the person owning the house, I would challenge it.
I
Because
know.
a hurricane will change your sea level and the ocean levels.
It pushed that water all the way in.
It can,
It pushed that water all the way in.
it can.
Yeah. So you would.
What do you write it off as? Personally, me being an agent, I'm gonna cover my client.
Well, because going to
I don't
bat
care
for
if it's
him.
hurricane or flood, you're gonna get covered. Let somebody else fight it out.
Because this is, I mean, the heart-wrenching story that all of a sudden you're displaced and no coverage because of a word differencing. I mean, just
But
as
you
much
have-
as you're willing to help, there's just as many others who are willing to go the adjuster's side.
But you have a government agency saying there is a hurricane in there, so you have.
But this isn't coastline, this is inland, it said.
How far?
Close enough to still be.
Close enough to be
Yeah,
affected
the house
by-
is near the coast.
Okay.
However, due to their inland location,
Yeah,
That's what it says. However, due to their inland location, the adjuster deemed this loss flood.
I would still challenge.
Yeah. I know.
As an agent, I would still challenge it.
I would
would
love that you would do that for me.
I would,
Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
That's
What do
good.
you have to lose?
Yeah, right? That's why I pay for your premiums, for you to be my
Now-
agent. You're going to bat for me.
They may have-
If they say go pound sand, yeah, thanks for trying. Yeah.
And it would be litigated a long way up.
Yeah. 'Cause
Now,
I've
what
heard-
would happen, you know what would happen if they ended up paying it, the next time around you came insured, they're gonna ask you to, if you want us insured, you're gonna have to cover flood insurance,
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah, there is gonna be a microscope on you after that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And everybody in that area.
Yeah. I mean, specific reasons, I mean, people have sided with the adjuster in this scenario because you can clearly see that there's not any wind damage to the roof.
Right.
The water they've called some agents sitting in this class have called the water groundwater because it was forced in by the hurricane,
Yes.
but it did not come down from the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would not be a flood. Flooding
right.
lands from rainwater is not a flood, but groundwater is a
Well, I'm
flood.
not an adjuster, never claimed to be.
Right.
The expert, no way,
But would you
that's one
still
line
go
I
to-
never wanted to do.
Would you still go to bat with me when the adjuster says
I
something I
would sit the
disagree with?
agent on it.
Yeah,
No, our office is the fires, the agents do, that would be a fire. I mean, put out the fire.
yeah. You would get,
And
you would
being a
have
small
my back.
agency, I've actually seen them run out to fires and whatever, so which is nice. Some of the, I never worked for a big house, never wanted to, because you're too much of a robot in those.
Sales.
Who are you?
Yeah, right.
I had a house in Kaiser in like 1972.
That's cool, I live in Kaiser.
I graduated from Mary before.
So did I.
You were born?
I'm 07.
I was 69.
Awesome.
Had a house in Kaiser. And like that house there, they have an awning off the side.
Yeah.
I had an awning off the side and it was built into a sunroom.
Uh-huh.
And a wind came through Kaiser. And it was built right, I built it. I used to build it.
Still peeled the
And
top off.
It took
though.
that whole top right there, see where it's white?
Peeled it right off.
All glass, flopped it right over on the roof.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I was just gonna rebuild it, and I called my insurance agent, was Mike Starr, George Starr, I guess. George came out and looked at it, and I didn't have wind damage, any of that. But there was actually a wind that came past through Kaiser, but to the,
Well, because that was wind damage. It
Yeah,
didn't
it was.
damage anything else.
no, I mean, how did that flip over like that? And
It's wind.
he says,
Just like
I
a wind
says, am I
blowing.
insured for that? And you know, he different that. He says,
Sure.
yeah, let me check. And so he calls me back. And there's a nicety of knowing your people, and I knew him play ball with him
Yes, that's
and
what
everything
Yes.
else. He comes back and says, well, there wasn't a lot of paid out from farmers in this area this month. He said, yeah, we'll pay.
Yeah. Well, actually, claims ratio is really in the toilet, so you can have all you want.
And he wrote me a $10,000 check. He says, go ahead and rebuild it or do whatever you want. Just get it back the way it was.
Yep.
But
Keep the extra.
I sympathize always. You can tell whether somebody's trying to
Game the system.
Yeah.
screw
Oh,
the
yeah.
insurance company out. You can tell by their voice, you can tell by their call. You can go when you go out to a place,
Yeah. And those aren't the guys you necessarily feel like you even want to go to bat for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those are the ones.
Because you can tell.
But then there's a place like this that maybe,
yeah.
maybe they weren't.
If you don't cover my loss right now, I am dirt poor displaced.
Yeah.
And that's a big enough home. I probably have my wife and 4 children in there.
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just about the ethics and everything else, but, was it hurricane, was it flood? Well, they've been my age.
How much
I've been their
how
agent
much do you care
I've
about
been
me
their
as a
agent for
customer?
40 years, am I gonna go to bat for them? You bet.
Yeah, well, because, now I get to see how much the carrier actually cares about me as a customer.
Yeah.
Is if they're willing to try and run away from this by calling it flood, or if they were willing to just call it hurricane and give me what I need.
It's hard to think about,
Because I've been a customer, let's say, for 40 years, yeah.
how would you like to be an adjuster in
To
Louisiana?
do that, just that one decision
Actually-
is
Or
devastating.
Or Houston?
No, I knew a gal,
Oh.
her and her husband had a adjusting company, and they were over there. I used to take her ethics classes, and she'd bring back pictures, and it was just, she said, still Wolfram, and I actually, my ex-husband was that just passed, he was a truck driver, and I went on the truck with him, and it was amazing, so many years after that Katrina and stuff, how many places were still just boarded up?
Yep.
Nothing.
Just like ghost town in some
Oh,
places,
yeah,
in some
yeah.
spots.
No, that would be too heartbreaking. I pay everybody, because I feel so bad for them.
There's a reason you're an agent, not
Yeah.
an adjuster. Yeah.
Fire her, she's
Could've
giving
got
away
too
too much
many
of her money.
stories.
We are done. You guys have been an awesome class.
My brother-in-law is an attorney, a land attorney in Louisiana. Okay?
Louisiana.
What time do you want us to put down, honey?
9:30 or I'm in 11:30 or 11:39 or anything past 11:30 is fine.
Anything past?
Or 11:30. or
What are you writing down? So write down the same thing.
No, you'll both be
I
fine.
wrote down 11:39.
There we go. That's perfect.
11:39.
That's fine. That's fine.
This is the ethics.
Means I kept your attention at least for an extra 9 minutes, yeah. Because this class, oh my gosh, I could put you guys to sleep so quickly with this material.
I know, that's why we interact.
Yeah, that's why I like to try and treat this class.
Everybody that teaches ethics, law is pretty straightforward, because they have so much material.
I can't even teach it. You
That is
have to have a
one
law
class
degree
that
to teach law.
I will never
Yeah.
take online. But
I didn't do that.
my first law class after I got my license was in Salem here. And this guy comes out, this huge book, and literally just read the law.
Right?
Talk about trying to stay awake through that.
I never want
Thank
to teach a
God we
class
didn't
like
have to
that.
take a test.
Yeah.
There's a guy out of Ashland who does law, that comes up with a lot of places.
Yeah, we hire a lawyer. Yeah.
You hire him to go through it.
Yeah.
That's why you try to interact with these, because it goes a long time.
Jeez, I just talked about ethics for 3 hours with you guys.
And like-
But we made it through.
Yeah, and like you want the people to partake.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot quicker. for
Yeah,
you,
I hope
too.
you feel like you've learned something in some small way.
Do you
Well-
send us the certificates or?
Yeah, you'll get them, or I will drop by your office and come see you and get you. But you'll see these credits
Sure, so
reflected
on the-
All right.
by next week,
Oh.
and by Monday at latest, yeah, or maybe Tuesday.
And the other thing makes us.
Well, I gotta go, because you know
Yeah.
what, I know they're biting at the bit.
I will tell Kay that you said hi. It was great. It was great
Yeah.
meeting
Wait
you.
a minute, wait a minute. Okay.
Are you gonna document the sexual harassment right
Oh,
now?
I got that.
I'm ready to- Where's the report? There was no sexual harassment in this class between
Nancy,
this
you have a
hour
great
and this
rest of
hour.
I will.
Thank
Take
you.
care, good to meet
How
you.
are you, man? How you doing?
Good, I'm Chad.
Good. Chuck?
Chad.
Chad, okay.
Chad, that's it.
The other thing that makes it easy for us, this isn't our first ethics
Yes,
class.
yes. Well, that's what makes it hard for me up here is I feel like you guys have been through this once every 2 years for the last decade. I'm about to put you to sleep, yeah?
Yeah. That's why, and there's only two people, so
Yeah.
that's why it's nice to go through
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah, I think having a
And we probably shared more personal stuff with
general
you
conversation
than we
about.
normally would.
Yeah, general conversation about real
Oh, I was
real
gonna tell
world
you-
scenarios.
I'm gonna tell you. so
The guy in
my brother-in-law's the
Louisiana.
attorney in Louisiana
Yeah.
for this show. And he represents, the state government and the federal government. Harold's pretty sharp. Louisiana has, okay, you're the client, Louisiana has the
On the
flood.
state, yeah.
And you're sitting there and you come back to look at your property and it's gone. Not only the house, the property